Oh, no.
Go on, bear. Just keep walking.
I have 4 flat tires and a smashed windscreen.
Wild outdoor adventures are always unpredictable, but some camping encounters leave a permanent scar. From discovering actual human remains by a lake to returning to a completely destroyed getaway vehicle, what is the terrifying tax you pay for stepping into the unknown? The video was uploaded on May 10th, 2026. A Fisherman's Life is a channel that is not very hard to figure out. As the name suggests, it focuses on fishing. The creator makes the kind of videos where he does more than just catch fish. He also prepares and cooks them on camera, creating the type of content that makes viewers suddenly want to walk to the kitchen and find something to eat. But in this particular video, what started as another normal fishing trip turned into something strange enough to leave both him and his friend uneasy.
So I'm going to start here and fish right in front of me and then fish downstream a little bit. Let's do a first cast close. If there's fish, they'll come up and get it too. Come on, baby. Fish on. Oh, bite. Yep, definitely a bite. 100% a bite. I could feel it too. I don't have the indicator, but I'm tight to my line.
During the trip, they moved to a different spot and came across something unexpected.
Now, this is kind of cool. Look at this. Is that man-made? Yeah. No doubt about it, right? Oh, yeah. I feel like I'm with an Amazon tracker. We're at this new spot in the middle of nowhere, and Jim thinks this is a human bone. I have no degree in bones. That doesn't look like a human bone, huh?
It does, Joe.
If I touch it, will I get cursed?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Just to give you a sense of the scale. Huh.
Put it next to your leg. Dude, that looks like a human bone.
Dang.
I think so. It'd be right here under my kneecap is where it would start. That's a human bone. I'm not even kidding, dude.
Yeah, maybe it'll bring us luck.
Hopefully.
Bad luck, or?
At first, it looked like it could have been nothing more than an odd piece of bone. But the longer they looked at it, the more disturbing it seemed. It had a shape that made them wonder if it could possibly be human. And even though they were unsure, the thought was hard to ignore. Strangely, they still continued fishing after finding it. But once he returned home, the image of that bone stayed in his mind. He began thinking about what it might really be. If it was human, it could have belonged to someone who died in that area and was later scattered by animals. Or it could have been something even darker connected to a person who had been killed and left there. Eventually, he decided it was too serious to ignore and contacted the police to report what they had discovered.
You have reached the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office, non-emergency.
Hi, I was fishing in the South Fork of the American River on Saturday, and I came across what I think is a human tibia, but I'm not sure. I just wanted to report that.
And you think you came across a human tibia?
I asked my friend who was an EMT, and he's a nurse, and I asked a couple people, and they said that that's what it looks like. And I was making a fishing video, so I have it all on camera.
After that call, a police officer reached out to him again after reviewing the video. The officer confirmed that the bone was indeed human, which immediately made the situation much more serious. A few days later, the officer asked the YouTuber to return to the area and show the exact place where it had been found. They went back, the police collected the bone for investigation, and he was later given a case number. In cases like this, even a small bone can become important evidence. Its location, condition, and the area around it may help investigators understand whether it was moved by water animals or something else. That is why people are usually told not to touch anything suspicious and to report it exactly where it was found. Since then, there has not been an official update, and because the discovery is still fairly recent, there may not be enough information yet. If that bone really belonged to someone still missing, this discovery may have been the first step toward answers. But until more is known, the question remains, how did it end up there in the first place? The video was uploaded by the YouTube channel Brock Jonathan on August 24th, 2012. Brock Jonathan is someone who has always loved fishing and spending time outdoors, but recording himself or sharing videos online had never really been something he planned to do. That changed during one fishing trip in Alaska, when he ran into a situation so unusual that he pulled out his camera and began filming. Afterward, he realized the footage was far too wild to keep private, so he posted it on YouTube, where the video quickly started drawing attention from viewers.
Smells us now. They can cover a lot of ground quick. Where was that? I think he's just gonna go around us. Just chill.
Hey, bear. Go on.
Go on, bear.
Go on, bear.
From a distance, they noticed a grizzly bear moving across the area, and it was clearly massive. It seemed comfortable moving toward them, even while Brock had bear spray ready in his hand. Having a grizzly come that close is the kind of moment that can send your adrenaline through the roof. Then there was his friend holding a stick as if he was about to protect them in some old medieval fight. But the frightening part was not only that the bear approached, it also began acting more aggressive.
Go on, bear. Go on, bear. Go on, bear. Go on, bear. Let's just keep walking. Just look away. Go on, bear. Go on, bear. Just keep backing away, dude. Go on, bear. Keep looking away.
The longer the footage goes on, the clearer it becomes that the bear was not backing off. It continued pushing closer and seemed to grow more intense with every moment. The men responded very well. They kept the situation under control and did not let panic take over. Some people who have never seen a bear in person might watch the clip and think it did not look that dangerous. But in reality, bears do not usually move that close to humans unless something is wrong or they feel confident. Eventually, they managed to drive it away, or maybe the bear finally understood that it was not welcome there. Either way, the video makes it clear that this was a very tense moment and their hearts were racing the entire time. One reason they escaped was that they did not run, scream, or turn their backs on the bear. They kept facing it, backed away carefully, and made themselves look like a threat instead of easy prey. Brock also had bear spray ready, which may have helped keep the bear from fully charging. Maybe the bear was just angry because they were taking fish from its territory. It only had claws and teeth, while the men showed up fully prepared with rods, gear, and lures. But when a wild animal closes that distance and still refuses to leave, the real question is simple. Was it only curious, or was it already deciding what to do next? Theo, the creator behind the channel, My Name is Theo, shares his travels across the country with his companion Lars. His content is an unfiltered look at life on the road, the triumphs, the setbacks, and the in-between moments. But during one leg of his cross-country journey, Theo would discover that the silence of the wilderness can feel far more threatening than the noise of any city. After a long day of driving, Theo searched for a place to rest and chose a dispersed camping site marked within the vast Talladega National Forest in Alabama.
We found this spot, Talladega National Forest. From what I've read, it seems like it's got dispersed camping. It's an hour, it's like 50 minutes away, and it's close to where I'm going, so it's not out of the way. Because from right here where I am right now to where I'm going tomorrow, it's like, wait, hold on, I think it might actually get me closer. Okay, I just realized that it actually...
It looked like a perfect stop, remote, quiet, and closer to his next day's destination. But as he arrived, the reality was far from inviting.
Super sketchy. This is the campsite, apparently, and I can just park, I guess, anywhere. I don't see anyone here. This is like super duper sketchy. Like, if I saw other cars, I'd be like, okay.
The campsite was deserted, swallowed in an oppressive darkness that his headlights barely touched. What was supposed to be a rustic, peaceful spot instead felt abandoned and unsettling. Theo had traveled extensively, even on conservation cruises, but he was used to being with others. Alone in the forest, the silence was overwhelming. To make matters worse, he realized his headlamp was useless without the right batteries.
And I'm gonna have to crack the windows because it is hot. I was gonna put the tailgate tent up, but it's just so dark I can't even see. I don't have batteries for my headlamp. All I have is AA. I thought I was good with just the AA. Nope, needed AAA for the headlamp. So yeah, that was a mistake there. So I can't really put the awning thing up, the tailgate awning that I have, because
with only his phone's flashlight, he couldn't properly set up his tailgate tent. Forced to remain inside his vehicle, he cracked the windows to fight the heat, but that left him exposed to mosquitoes and to whatever else might be nearby. His van, meant to be a refuge, now felt like a cage. Every sound from the woods pressed against his nerves, each rustle a reminder of how vulnerable he was. He tried to distract himself with a movie on his laptop, but the feeling of being watched never went away. Were the faint voices he thought he heard other campers, or something else entirely? The night eventually passed without incident, but the psychological toll remained. The darkness, the silence, and the weight of isolation carved a memory that would follow him long after he left the forest. For Theo, it was a stark reminder that sometimes the greatest threat isn't a creature in the woods, but the crushing realization of your own vulnerability. What made this night so terrifying wasn't a direct confrontation, but the absence of control. Without light, without proper setup, Theo was left with nothing but uncertainty. And in the wilderness, uncertainty itself becomes a predator. Have you ever felt that kind of fear in complete darkness, where your own thoughts become the loudest threat? Do you think Theo's unease came only from isolation, or could there have been someone, or something, just beyond the reach of his headlights? Vicky runs a camping channel focused on the quieter side of outdoor life. Her videos often showcase remote places, still waters, and nights spent far away from the crowd, the kind of content that makes viewers want to pack a bag and disappear into nature for the weekend. In this particular video uploaded on December 3rd, 2021, she and her friend Amy traveled to a peaceful lake area in the Snowdonia region of Wales. The plan was simple: find a beautiful spot, spend the night, and enjoy the silence.
Here's where we're going. So we think we found quite a little quiet lake spot for tonight. It's near Linogwen. Hopefully think I've been quite clever in where we've parked and how we found it. And I'm thinking we're going to be fairly alone tonight. See that little dot up there? That's Amy at the top of the hill. And here's me back at the bottom. We forgot the water filter. And we realised when we was right at the top.
After a long hike, including one frustrating trip back down the hill because they had forgotten their water filter, they finally reached the lake. The place looked exactly like what they had hoped for.
So here we are at Lynn. Beep. They've covered up the car park, which is here. There's no longer access to the world's most perfect car camping or van spot ever. But yeah, here's our location.
They set up their camp, settled in, and let the evening unfold around them. A flock of sheep slowly moved past the campsite, grazing quietly near the lake. Everything felt calm, slow, and peaceful, the kind of night people imagine when they think about camping in the wild.
So the sheep are now making their way around the lake in an orderly fashion.
They went to sleep without any real concern. Morning arrived without anything unusual happening. They made coffee, packed their gear, and began walking back down the trail toward the car. That was when the entire trip changed into something completely different.
I have 4 flat tyres and a smashed windscreen, smashed window, complete with rock inside. Poor car. I've been on the phone for 57 minutes. For someone who didn't want us to stay here, they've made us stay here a real long time. The breakdown people don't cover it, so on the phone with the insurance, I'm going to have to make a claim, but it's not going to be repairable apparently because of the damage, so it's probably going to be bye-bye car. Even yesterday somebody else was parked just over there, not blocking the gate as well, another local person walking to the lake.
nothing was stolen from the car.
The question that remains is why it happened. Their car may have been parked near a gate on someone's property, but it was not blocking access. Nothing had been stolen. That detail changes the feeling of the whole situation. When a car is smashed but nothing is taken, it often points less toward theft and more toward anger warning or personal frustration. In remote areas, conflicts over parking land access or private property can sometimes turn ugly very quickly. Beside the destroyed car, there was also a dry patch on the ground about a meter long, roughly the size of a quad bike or small vehicle. Whoever did this had not been gone for long when Vicky and Amy returned. They may have missed the person by only a short amount of time, which makes the discovery even more unsettling. At least Vicky and Amy were safe. Whatever anger pushed someone to destroy that car in the middle of the night, it stopped at the vehicle and did not go further. But the uncomfortable question still remains: if they had come back a few minutes earlier, would they have found only the damage or the person who caused it? The next disturbing video of the night comes from Overland Nomad, a US-based overland and off-road adventure channel that documents vehicle-based travel, remote camping, and wilderness exploration. It is February 24th, 2026 at South Padre Island, Texas, United States.
Take a break from work, from daily life, and come out here in the wilderness and sit by the fire. I think all of us need a little reset every so often, doesn't matter who, everyone needs one. It's important.
David settles into his beach campsite after completing preparations for the evening, with his dog Piper nearby. He begins cooking fajitas and sets up lights around the campsite. The beach is mostly empty, and a few distant fishermen can be seen farther down the shoreline. Otherwise, the surroundings feel calm and isolated. The wind, which had been stronger earlier, begins to ease.
Cooking, and I was just having to stare through the window, and I see a light like coming up, like someone walked. And yeah, it was a lady. I saw there was a car that went up to the east cut, and I do know that there's one car out there. I could see its lights, and I guess they're stuck. I would love to help, but I'm by myself. There's no one out here, and I don't know if it's a trap.
While preparing dinner, David notices a light slowly moving across the beach toward his camp. As the figure comes closer, he realizes it is a woman whose vehicle has become stuck in the sand nearby. She describes the situation but responds strangely when he offers help. Even when David offers the use of his phone and other assistance, she refuses. Her behavior makes him uneasy. Being alone in a remote location with very little nearby help changes the tone of the encounter. Trusting his instincts, David begins preparing to leave the campsite.
I was thinking about just camping a few miles south. She's like, I don't know how you're gonna go to sleep. I called 911. I called the county just to report it. And then I told them my predicament, and the guy was like, oh yeah, that sounds super sketchy. I'd probably leave.
After securing his equipment and packing his gear, David contacts local authorities to report the situation. However, he is told that no immediate assistance can be sent to the location. The lack of nearby support reinforces his decision to leave rather than remain in the area. Even when the natural surroundings seem peaceful, unexpected human interactions can quickly change the situation. In remote places, it can be hard to know whether someone truly needs help or if the situation might carry hidden risks. It raises a simple question. When camping alone in isolated areas, how should someone decide when to help and when it may be safer to leave? CJ Faison is a YouTuber and explorer known for going into places most people would rather stay away from. Haunted mines, abandoned ghost towns, and locations with dark reputations are the kind of places he has explored before. But this time, he was not looking for anything paranormal. In October of 2024, he decided to try something new, his first solo van camping trip. There were no friends with him, no one to watch his back, and the place he chose was the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, a massive stretch of dense forest with a long and uneasy history. For generations, locals have called the area cursed. Some connect it to the legend of the Jersey Devil, while others point to a more realistic danger people. And because he was in New Jersey, CJ had no weapon with him, only himself.
I just pulled up. That's weird. Sounds very hollow.
He arrived shortly after dark, parking deep along a sandy trail. As soon as he stepped outside, something caught his attention. The ground under his feet sounded hollow, almost like there was something underneath the surface. It was strange enough for him to notice, but he moved on. At first, the night stayed quiet. He set up camp, filmed for his viewers, and even found moments to laugh. But the Pine Barrens did not stay quiet for long.
All right. Let me tell y'all, some things are getting a little weird. I feel very nervous because this, like, completely solo. I only. Widener. I'm not really sure what Widener means, but you know, you're in the woods, you're by yourself, you're in a van.
When he returned from a short bike ride, something had changed.
Hello? Those two logs are knocked over. The two logs are actually knocked over. I know for a fact that one was standing up, and I know that I'm 99% sure that one was standing up too.
Two large logs he had placed upright before leaving were now lying flat on the ground. Both of them had fallen. There was no wind and no animals were visible nearby. CJ tried to find a normal explanation, but nothing really made sense. He locked the van, kept filming, and waited. Then the sounds began coming from somewhere outside the camp. Soon after, a faint red light appeared near the edge of the area, blinking from the brush. When he went to check it, he found a flashlight that did not belong to him, even though its power switch was still in the off position.
What the fuck is that? What is that? Let's try to zoom in on my camera. Come on. That's somebody's flashlight. Hello? I don't even know. It was a ding or something. Somebody's out here. Obviously. A damn flashlight doesn't fall clean out of the sky.
It had somehow turned on, and as he rushed back toward the van, the situation became even stranger.
Whoa! No. I'll fucking beat your ass with this flashlight if I find you.
At that point, it felt clear that someone or something was out there.
All right, come the fuck on. Who's out here? Who's out here? I'm 9,000% sure that light was not on. 9,000%.
Then another light source switched on by itself. CJ stumbled back, trying to stay calm as the shadows around him seemed to move. His cameras began failing one after another. Batteries drained without any clear reason. Overheating warnings appeared despite the cold night air. Then a single heavy bang came from somewhere near the riverbank.
No way. Hello? Listen, dude. Listen. If you're fucking with me, just come out and say it.
In a place like the Pine Barrens, the darkness can play tricks on a person very quickly. Thick trees can bend sound-hide movement and make small lights appear farther away or closer than they really are. When someone is alone, that uncertainty becomes even worse because there is no second person there to confirm what is real. CJ called out into the darkness, but nothing answered. Only silence came back. He moved toward the toilet building to check the area, but there was nothing there to find.
I don't know about you all, but I'm 9,000% sure that boom or bang came from that right there. 100% came from that right there.
After that, CJ returned to the van and stayed inside. He did not go back out again. All that remained was the low hum of the Starlink antenna and the constant feeling that something in the tree line might still be watching him.
No one tried to break in the van that I know of, at least. I think when I fell asleep, I was just like, ow.
I felt way safer than when I'm like camping in a tent, that's for sure.
Morning came calm and still. The bike was exactly where he had left it. The van had not been touched. On the surface, everything looked normal. But somehow it did not feel normal at all. The Pine Barrens had gone quiet again, but it was not the kind of quiet that brings comfort. Whatever had moved through the dark that night never had to show itself clearly. It had already done enough. Maybe it was someone messing with him, or maybe it was only a series of strange coincidences in the woods. But if nothing was really there, why did the night feel like it was warning him to stay inside? This video comes from Moxley's Paranormal World, a UK-based channel focused on solo overnight stays in remote woodland areas, often centered around unexplained activity and paranormal exploration. It was April 29, 2026, somewhere in the United Kingdom, and from the start, this night felt different. He had been to this woodland before. The place carried history for him, including earlier nights and experiences he still could not explain. So this time, he arrived more carefully. Before the tent was even set up, he was checking the ground, looking above for unstable branches, and placing perimeter alarms around the site. He was not taking chances.
Because it definitely looks big enough. Yeah, it's going to be big enough here. And even if it's not, we'll make it big enough. I keep looking around because I don't feel like I'm the only person here, and I possibly ain't the only person here. Because what time are we at? 8 o'clock in the evening. It's a gorgeous day as well. This ground's really soft. Isn't it great just listening to the wildlife she's setting up? It's one of the main reasons why I actually love.
Before daylight disappeared, he walked through the area and found strange structures among the trees. Logs and branches had been arranged in ways that did not look natural, but there was no obvious explanation. He kept moving and preparing, but the forest had become strangely quiet. Then something caught his attention. It looked like a reflection shifting between the gaps in the trees. He watched it check the same area again and again, and whatever it was, it did not move closer. But it did not leave either. It simply changed position and stayed near the edge of visibility, almost as if it were watching. That was what made it unsettling.
Is there someone else here with me? If there is, come forward, come and speak to me. Or show yourself. Show yourself on the camera. Maybe come and show me what you look like. Don't know who I'm speaking to. Let's go over this side. Alright, I've just turned the spirit talker back on. Let's go for a walk.
3. Forgive my sins.
3. Forgive my sins. Well, what did you...
1,840.
1,840. 1840s. Leg. There's something...
My name is Raymond.
Raymond? Is that what we just got in the tent as well? Raymond?
I'm always watching.
You always watching, are you?
Kelsey.
What are you always watching? Are you watching people who come out here doing the photographer? The strangest thing is, this place is supposedly full of wildlife, like deers and all sorts.
May I touch you?
No, you cannot touch me.
I've been trapped.
You've been trapped here. And the thing is, earlier on, we've seen deer tracks.
It was not aggressive. It was patient. At night, reflections in the woods can be hard to judge. A small flash on wet leaves, branches, or an animal's eyes can look farther away or closer than it really is. But when the same kind of light seems to change position again and again, it becomes harder to dismiss. Now the reflections were no longer coming from one direction. They appeared deeper in the woodland from several points at once. There was no single place to focus on anymore. The trees swallowed the distance and made it almost impossible to tell how far away anything really was. Through all of it, the movement continued ahead of him, and beside him, never closing the distance, but never falling behind either. It felt like something was keeping pace with him, something that knew exactly how far away to stay.
Spirit Talker, that was absolutely insane. Some interesting stuff coming through on that. The EVP I'm not 100% sure about, but that weird light, I don't even know if the camera's picked it up, but that was very odd, especially with the sightings of UFOs and stuff. I'm not saying it was a UFO, and I didn't say it was a UFO then either. But anyway, I need to get myself a quick cup of coffee, pack this tent away.
Then, one of the perimeter alarms went off. He checked the area right away, but there was nothing there. No tracks. No visible movement, nothing he could identify. Only the alarm followed by silence. More muffled sounds came afterward close to camp and near the monitored line. He went back out to look again, but still found nothing he could confirm. The alarm had been triggered, meaning something entered the perimeter, but whatever it was left no clear sign behind. Nothing was identified. Nothing was confirmed. But nothing truly went away either. It stayed out there beyond the camera just outside the edge of the light, present enough to feel real, but unclear enough to prove. By morning, the only thing he could say for certain was that he never felt fully alone out there. Maybe it was wildlife, maybe it was light playing tricks, or maybe something really was moving with him in the dark. But if it was only the forest, why did it feel so aware of where he was? This video comes from Wild Bliss Bunny, a solo female outdoor creator known for minimalist camping, urban stealth setups, and lightweight backpacking. On February 14, 2026, the video was uploaded from California, United States, filmed in an urban redwood grove near a public walking road.
Leave that while I get this together. Yeah, this is... Oops. Oopsie daisy. Wow, I'm really glad. I only have 4 of them. Hopefully that's enough. This could actually go around this tree if it was longer. I don't know if I need it. All right. It looks like it's up. I may need to go around and finesse the things. Yeah, that works. Maybe that's why you don't need as many, because a lot of them could go on the same one. I think I'm gonna put it on a longer one. Let's go in and see what it's like.
She finishes setting up her lightweight trekking pole tent among the redwoods. Earlier in the evening, her microphone was damaged after her tripod fell, creating some frustration. Still, she adapts and continues arranging her camp.
On the bike, and he kept doing circles around, and then he sat at and then he went and sat by a tree, and I was and then I thought he left, and then he came and he said knock knock after I set up my tent and everything. Why are you knock knocking? You know, why are you circling around on your bike and making it like you left? Come up and say knock knock in the dark. He doesn't even have a light or anything, so way too sketchy.
As time passes, the tone shifts from peaceful to uneasy. A man circles the area on a bike and lingers nearby. Although he appears to leave for a moment, he remains somewhere close. Not knowing his exact location increases her alertness.
Not all the way to the tent. I don't know what he looks like, to be honest with you. I didn't get a good view of his face because it was so dark out. Why are you knock knocking me? I'm a female alone in the woods. The last thing I want is some dude all by himself.
Even after he changes position, he does not fully leave the area. Deciding the situation is too unpredictable to ignore, she starts packing up her gear. Despite the inconvenience and disappointment, she chooses to abandon the campsite entirely.
I can, and trust my gut. My gut was get the F out of there. So I'm sorry, guys. This is a really short little video. There's not going to be a lot of footage, but I definitely had to abandon camp tonight. And my microphone broke. Man, it just was not my night tonight. But, in that particular spot, there is a lot of noise, so I don't know what it's gonna...
The broken equipment earlier becomes insignificant compared to the discomfort of feeling monitored in the dark. Sometimes there is no obvious threat, only behavior that doesn't feel right. If you had been alone in that grove, would you have stayed or packed up and left? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.